Ready? Staff ready? We'll go ahead and call to order the City Council meeting of August 26, 2025. Let's start with an invocation and the pledge led by Jeff Harris, Council Member Place 2.
If you would, please bow your head in prayer with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts for the blessings you've poured over our community here in Kerrville. Thank you for the beauty of this city, the strength of its people, and the opportunity to gather in service of the public good. We ask for your wisdom and guidance over this council. Grant each leader here discernment, integrity, and the spirit of cooperation as we all make decisions that impact the lives of so many. Help us all to lead with humility, compassion, and courage. Lord, we lift up our first responders, our police officers, firefighters, paramedics, and those who stand ready to serve and protect at a moment's notice. Bless them with the protection, strength, and peace as they face challenges that often go unseen. Heavenly Father, we also pray for our men and women in uniform, those serving in our military both far and near. We thank you for their sacrifice and dedication to our nation. Keep them safe, guide their steps, and bring comfort to their families. May our community be united in purpose and strengthened by mutual respect. And may your hand of blessing rest upon Kerrville today and always. In your holy and heavenly name we pray. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kunyas, do you have any announcements?
Yes, sir. We have 3 announcements tonight. And if you like to shoot hoops, we invite everybody to come out to Carver Park on Saturday, September 13th. We're going to start at 10 o'clock. It's the basketball knockout competition. I think this is the first time that the Parks and Recreation Department has done that, so we're hoping for a good turnout. $15 per player. I think the deadline, if you want to sign up in advance, is September 11th. But September 13th, come on out and take a few shots at the rim. And in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, we invite everybody to come by Scott Schreiner Golf Course. We're going to be cutting the ribbon cutting for the opening of the course. And I don't know if you've been by there, but it is absolutely beautiful. We can't wait to get started. And in fact, we'll be starting Friday with the 79th annual Heart of the Hills tournament. I'm going to have quite a few people from both around the country and around the state. So hopefully when you see them this weekend, tell them hi, and I'm thankful that they're coming to town and bringing some dollars with them. And Councilman Singleton has been talking about this for quite some time now, but we're getting close enough where we're going to put it up. October 25th, the Water Street Festival. Actually, I probably ought to turn it over to you. I was going to say, I think you're still open and you can take vendors.
We can. We still have room for some vendors, and it's going to be a great day. Good day to celebrate what we've come through.
All right. Well, we invite everybody to, we'll be going over this some more. There's going to be a lot of live events out there, but we invite everybody to put that on your calendar and keep that day open Saturday, October 25th. So,
thank you, Stuart.
I'll turn it over to y'all now.
Any other announcements? Anything to add?
No, it's just have flyers if you want to take something home with you to remind you about it. It's October 25th, the Saturday. We're going to have Water Street and Earl Garrett closed, portions of it, so that you can freely, safely walk about, get something to drink and eat, and there'll be music. We're going to have a kids parade at 11 that's looking to be the start of the show. A lot of activities planned for families and kids, so it should be a great day, and a lot of vendors there selling their products and things. Look forward to seeing you.
Yeah. I got emailed today by the colonel over at Tybee High School, who is in charge of the JROTC program. And they're going to do another Veterans Day program this year on November the 11th. And he reached out, and I figured what better time to ask if we have anybody here that likes to sing or knows a good singer. Last year they had a gentleman that sang patriotic songs throughout the program. So if anybody here knows somebody that's a singer or performer or would like to sing at a Veterans Day event hosted by Tybee, which is pretty amazing to see young people celebrate our veterans. Please let one of us know, and we'll pass that on to the colonel. So, thank you.
Well, it's of community interest to know that the special session of the legislature is going on right now. Is one of the things that they're covering is limiting property taxes for states and, for cities and counties. We have a 3.5% cap now on how much we can raise, and our property taxes. And we can't fund all of our budget now with the 3.5%. There's been more inflation than that, and so we are not funding our replacement of assets or other future things. We really, if we need a new fire, we're not going to have money to borrow money. I mentioned at the last council meeting that we're on a sinking ship as far as our money goes, and they're talking about reducing the cap from 3.5 to 2 or 1, and I don't know how cities and counties are going to survive. So I think it's be the interest of all citizens to get a hold of their legislators and say, if you want services in your cities and counties, we've got to have more flexibility about getting through inflationary periods, and because the money is just not there. So get a hold of your legislators. So we're already on a sinking ship, and they cut it down to 2 or 1%. We're going to be in real trouble. We are going to put together a group to try to help come up with some ideas about how, where else can we get some money. And so we've began to put together some names, and so we'll see how that all gets develops. But we need to have some community input, because we've got a mountain we're not going to be able to climb without some big changes. So we want everybody to know, legislators need to know it's not going, because the cities don't work that way. They get by without property taxes. They'd like to cut them out completely. So that's one of the goals they have.
Thank you. Brenda?
I'm going to yield my time to Kerrville Pets Alive.
Oh, really?
She'll have an announcement.
Please. She handed the baton to you guys. Middle's fine. You're welcome.
Mayor and Council, good evening. I'm Karen Guerrero with Kerrville Pets Alive. This is Debbie Zabica with the Red Cross. You're familiar with her. We're here tonight to announce kind of a giving back event that we're going to have on September the 13th at the Red Cross. We're going to partner with in this endeavor. And it will be a pet resource and wellness event for all Kerr County residents. Everyone's are struggling right now, and if we can help them with their pets, save a little money, we're going to do that. Everything will be absolutely free that day, including registration for free spay and neuter surgeries, free vaccines. We'll have free microchips. We'll have a veterinarian on site for exams, things like that, nail clips. We'll even have a pet tag machine, fun for the whole family and kids, crafts and things like that. So, and people supplies as well. So we just want to invite the community. We appreciate all the donations we have received and want to give back as well. So when everyone do come to that,
Where
September.
is it going to be?
It'll be at the Red Cross Building,
Oh, okay.
333 Earl Garrett, from 8 until noon on September the 13th, which is Saturday.
Karen, will y'all be supplying preventatives like...
Flea prevention with the help of the veterinarian, yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
September 11th?
Yes, sir, if you want.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, you're a good speaker.
No.
I'm gonna. So September the 11th at Trailhead Beer Garden at Shriner University is going to be the second walk of remembrance for 9/11. General Mike Oates is putting this together. We have some phenomenal guest speakers this year that are going to be there. One of which is the gentleman sitting to my left, as well as our county judge and the Parachinis, who are the founders of Gunny's Warriors, who really stepped up above their normal call during event since July the 4th. And Mayor, we look forward to having you as a speaker.
Right, our next item is Visitors and Citizens Forum. How many do we have signed up, Shelley?
14.
Some of you have not been to City Council before. I'm glad you're here. We want to hear everybody. We do. That's why we're here. Some ground rules. There is a time limit. Please don't go over your time limit. There's lots of you. If you can be brief, you get more points. We want to hear you, but we want it to be courteous, professional, and kind. If someone starts calling people names, it will not be an effective tactic. All right? We respect you. Please respect those you speak about. Other than that, I'm glad you're here. That's why we're here, to listen.
Time limit?
There is a time limit. What's the time? Is it
4 minutes.
4 minutes? So 4 times 14,
56.
that's an hour. So if you don't take your full 4 minutes, that's good. That'd be great. All righty. Who's first?
Gabriel Perales.
Mr. Perales. We're timing you, sir.
I'm long-winded, unfortunately, Mr. Mayor. Mayor, Council, and everybody present. Hello, my name is Gabriel Perales. I'm a Public Information Officer with the United States Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. And I'm here to share today that for those that were impacted by the flooding in July, there are resources still available through SBA. SBA at a time of disaster not only helps businesses, but we help homeowners, renters, and nonprofits as well. So if you're a homeowner that has suffered physical damage, you may qualify for up to $500,000 of a disaster loan with a low interest rate of 2.81% over the course of a 30-year term with no payments and no interest for the first year. For personal losses, so renters and homeowners who suffered personal loss, whether it was clothes, furniture, and even including vehicles, you can qualify for up to $100,000, again at 2.81% up to a 30-year term and no payments, no interest for a year as well. For business owners that also suffered physical damage, you can qualify for up to $2 million with an interest rate as low as 4% over the course of 30 years, and again, no payments and no interest for the first year as well. And finally, if you're a business who has suffered economic injury, you can also qualify for economic injury disaster loan, and that's also up to $2 million, as low as 4%, up to 30 years, no payment, no interest for the year. Our deadline is rapidly approaching and less than 10 days away for physical damage, and it is September 4th. You can apply online at sba.gov/disaster, or you can also apply at one of the disaster recovery centers. We have one in Hunt, one on Memorial Boulevard, 3785 Memorial Boulevard, which is the Hill Country Youth Event Center. And we also have a business recovery center here on North Street, 823 North Street, should you care to go there. We just wanted to share that we continue to try to be as visible as possible. If it wasn't you that was impacted, but you know somebody that was, please let them know they can reach out to us and let them know of the resources that we do have available still. So again, thank you very much, everybody, and I'm here to help with any further questions or concerns.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Texas McComb.
You mind if I use the podium?
I do not mind.
Kerrville, how are you? I'm Texas McComb. The morning of July 4th, Captain John Miller elected me Guadalupe Riverbed expert. 4.5 hours later, there was the first search and recovery map of the Guadalupe from Camp Mystic to Canyon Lake. That was an obligation because I grew up on Arcadia Loop, and I thought it was a great time every time the water would rise because I could return things to every camp and every rancher, and they would give me money. That paid for my first vehicles, my first vacations. That was a great experience. So it was kind of a seek and find that I really looked forward to. With that being said, I knew one day I'd go to college, I would travel outside of Kerrville. So in 1997, as a 15-year-old boy, I created 3 flood warning devices. One was for authorities that plugged into a telephone line. I assumed it would be like the bat phone in the corner. No one would really know when it would ring, but when it would ring, they would know this is not a test. This is the real deal. The second one was for camps. When it alerted, the camp counselors would know, get the toys away from the water, pay attention to the water. This is real. The third one was for my favorite people of Kerr County, the senior citizens along the Guadalupe. When it sounded, they would know it's time to take that short drive. I'm here for one reason and one reason only, Council and Mayor. It's because the money you set aside for the device that you're planning on buying will not work. It won't work for 3 reasons. 1, the debris, when it happens, it will fill. Second, the first part of a wave, if you will, when a flood happens, is large sticks, large stones. That will demolish what you're planning on buying. And third, when a large amount of water travels over limestone, it creates an enormous amount of static electricity. That static electricity will short out the device you're planning on buying. I'm not here to brag, facts are facts. The device I created is the only device that'll work. 12 city council meetings, 20 fire stations, 4 times at the state capitol between 1997 and 1998. Everyone thought it would work. Everyone agreed with my science. No one called. That's all it is, plain and simple. That's it. Simple. That's what will work. Think of it as the fire alarm. We don't need a text to our phone. We don't need an email to the news. We need it to work. And that's what I created. With that, I have to add, I truly am proud of every first responder from the 4th of July up until last week when I was on the riverbed. Y'all did an incredible job. And it truly, truly makes me happy that the community in a whole came together for one event we could not control, but we equally felt the pain and still feel the pain. The other reason I'm here, City Council and Mayor, is I'm asking permission to float the Guadalupe, as I only know how to do. I want to go from Camp Mystic all the way to Canyon Lake, because July 21st was the last time Captain John Miller and I met. July 22nd was the last time the loved one was recovered. Again, I'm not here to brag, but I grew up on the river. It was my favorite place. The final search, I believe I'm the only one that'll know what I'm looking at, so I'll understand what to look for.
Well, that's beyond our authority to grant. We only are within the city limits of the city of Kerrville. Thank you for your words. I appreciate it. Who's next?
Megan Booth.
Booth. And you can use that, or you can go there, whichever's most comfortable. We do need you at a microphone. We have to record this. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Herring and council members. My name is Megan Booth, and I've lived in the city of Kerrville for 29 years. My husband, Micah Booth, was born and raised here and has proudly served the city of Kerrville as a firefighter for 19 years. Like many of his colleagues, he has had to take a second job because a firefighter's salary in Kerrville is not enough to keep up with the rising cost of living. And now, city employees are being forced into an impossible choice. Move to an HMO plan that restricts access to providers and specialists, or stay on the PPO plan and absorb a drastic reduction in the city's contribution to premiums. What was already a struggle to make ends meet has now become what amounts to a devastating pay cut. For firefighters, access to mental health care is not optional. They carry trauma from calls the rest of us could hardly imagine.
Take your time. You're doing well.
And mental health support is what allows them to keep showing up safely and with strength. By limiting network options and making it harder to see qualified providers, the city is putting that care further out of reach. My husband and I are also raising 4 children here. Our oldest daughter, Briley, has autism and requires specialized therapies. Life with a special needs child is already filled with challenges most families never face, and every day is a fight to make sure she has the same opportunities as any other child. Now imagine adding to that the possibility of losing the very providers who know her and have helped her make years of progress. Under an HMO plan, that is our reality. Taking away consistent access to care is not just short-sighted, it risks undoing everything Briley has worked so hard to achieve. In our home, these changes are not numbers on a spreadsheet. They mean deciding between bills and therapy. They mean wondering if my daughter's progress will vanish. Nearly every city employee in Kerrville is facing the same impossible choices. Many already work multiple jobs just to survive, and during the July 4th flood, they showed up without hesitation, working around the clock, and now they face higher health care costs on top of stagnant wages. At the July 22nd Employee Benefit Trust meeting, Council was told nothing will change with the PPO, but you were not shown the real paycheck impacts. Families paying hundreds more every month. That lack of transparency is unacceptable. And even more troubling, it was stated that the goal is for the city's contribution to premiums to continue decreasing in future years. That means this problem will not stop here. Every single year, employees will be forced to shoulder more of the cost. If we want Kerrville to retain first responders and city staff, this has to change. We cannot expect people to serve this city with pride when they cannot afford to live here, when their children lose access to care, and when they're treated as disposable in the budgeting process. Because of this, I stand here tonight not just for my family, but on behalf of many others. We have gathered a petition with over 1,000 signatures calling for action. That petition, which I've provided to you, outlines clear asks. My final question to you is this: do you believe Kerrville needs its first responders and city employees? If that answer is yes, start treating them like you do.
Mary Elizabeth Bartlett.
Ms. Bartlett.
My name is Mary Elizabeth Bartlett. I'm a Kerrville resident. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a firefighter wife, and I'm a mom. It is our family's privilege to serve this community. Thank you for hearing our comments. It is my goal for the council to appreciate that not only are neither of the options offered for healthcare coverage practically or financially feasible, they are also detrimental and harmful to city employees. I'm here representing my family, my husband, who is currently on shift as a firefighter and EMS supervisor. In his honor, I wore his favorite shirt, one so many of his peers here will recognize as he wears it routinely in order to facilitate conversation on the mental health crisis among first responders. It says, because y'all are out there, it says, don't let the hard days win. This is a hard day. This one's really hard. As an advocate for mental health support, my husband served not only as an informal resource for first responders processing the terrors of the 4th of July flood, but also connected many with professional resources when the city initially failed to do so. Since then, I know several Kerrville first responders who have started seeing a therapist on a regular basis. This is a miracle, considering the stigma that has been attached to first responders, especially men, receiving mental health care. It can take months, sometimes even years, to find someone with whom you can develop the level of vulnerability and trust required for therapeutic processing to begin. Once you find that person, you do not let go. We should be making this easier and not harder. Now our first responders are stuck with an impossible choice: pay astronomical higher premiums to maintain their therapist without interruption with the modified PPO plan, pay astronomical out-of-pocket costs if their therapists are now out of network on the HMO plan, or just pray that their therapist is in network and wait for a time-consuming referral, a dangerous gamble for those reeling from trauma. These men and women have served our community beyond what is written in their contract. They who brought engines and police cars to school to engage our children, played football to raise money for various community efforts, went out in their own vehicles on their own time to deliver water to people iced in during Winter Storm Uri, pulled bodies of men, women, and children from a river. Upon reviewing the footage of the July 22nd Employee Benefit Trust meeting, I believe the council was misinformed and believed there would be no or minimal changes. In fact, Assistant City Manager Kim Meismer states premiums will increase, quote, a little bit. But what a little bit means is never defined, nor is clarification later obtained by the council. My family's premiums will increase 100%. And that is with the corrected data. What is further troubling is that Ms. Meismer references the city's plan to further decrease contributions over the coming years. If we already know that is your intention, why should we stay? I ask you to review the benefit changes after considering the real adverse personal impact on city employees, not just the dollars saved by the city, at the next city council meeting. I ask you to be transparent with your intentions with our benefits. I understand the city has budgetary issues. We do too. Most of us are young families who are making long-term financial plans and commitments. We need timely data to know if we should continue to invest our careers in Kerrville or cut our losses. I'm asking you to rectify the dangerous oversights of the healthcare plan to do the right thing to retain the trust of your community. Thank you.
Dwayne Kutzer.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Dwayne Kutzer. I have been a City of Kerrville Fire Department employee for just over 24 years and a Kerr County resident my entire life for 47. On January 2023, after being a first responder for almost 22 years, I went out on medical leave for almost 8 months. Being diagnosed with PTSD, major depressive disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder, I saw a counselor once or twice a week for months on end, psychologist visits, taking and trying many different medications, and including in-hospital treatments. After 6.5 months, I wasn't even close to be able to come back to work. I attempted to get into Warrior's Heart when I was denied due to not having substance abuse, which was devastating to the point where I was already having suicidal thoughts consistently. The same day, I discovered the IAFF Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health and Recovery in Maryland, which serves firefighters and paramedics. I attended that program for a month and a half. My story and others there all said that the COE saved our lives. Others were discharged early and didn't get the entire program due to their insurance cutting them off or having to self-pay the rest of the treatment. COE website states HMO plans may have geographical limitations for services and subsequently no coverage for services. PPO plans provide the greatest ability to access the COE with less likelihood of insurance obstacles. Was it an HMO or similar health care plan they had? I will never know why they had to leave and not finish. I was excited to return to work after this treatment, which I have to this day. For someone like me in my field, that would need the type of treatment, and getting denied or cut short would be life or death. On July 2023, my wife, B. Kutzer, went for a mammogram at Peterson Regional Radiology Department due to her mother having an active breast cancer for many years and with the direction from her local PCP. Peterson Radiology advised that they had found something on her right breast, but not to worry and return in 6 months. Due to the concerns of probability, her being at high risk due to family history and knowledge working in the medical field as an LVN, 6 months was just too long to wait and see. Several months later, she referred herself to and was seen by MD Anderson Oncology in Houston, where they conducted scans, blood tests, and other associated testing within a week or two of contacting them. The test came back with devastating news that they found multiple tumors in the other breast. After biopsies of the tumors, it was confirmed in November she indeed had breast cancer. They caught her diagnosis early. After many months and multiple surgeries and treatment, she was ruled cancer-free in April 2024, where today she continues her treatment, medical labs, and scans on this cancer-free journey. We understand we can continue with PPO. However, my cost will double monthly. In closing, we also understand the financial motivations behind moving to an HMO. This change would interrupt the ongoing care we rely on. The proposed network excludes the specialist current treatment for my wife, chronic condition, and for my mental health if I ever had to return to the COE again. Some, if forced to HMO due to financial reasons, will not or may not get treatment like I have received. Thank you for your time.
Haley Hooser.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and respected community members. My name's Haley Huser, and I've lived in Kerrville for 31 years. I stand before you today as a concerned mother of 3, member of this community, registered nurse, and most importantly, the wife of a Kerrville first responder. And as all of you are sure aware, I'm here to discuss the changes to the insurance. First, I want to share something that's deeply personal with you today. When our 5-year-old son Raiden was born, we discovered that he had significant ear problems that led to the diagnosis of deafness in 1 ear. This hearing impairment caused him to be severely delayed in his speech development. With the help of therapy and a surgical procedure to correct the problem, we've seen tremendous improvement, but unfortunately, he still lags behind his peers. Sadly, this isn't the story for just one child. Our 2-year-old son Hagen is facing the same challenges. These challenges, while difficult, have been manageable thanks to our current insurance and has allowed us to expedite treatment with specialists for my children and myself. With the changes presented to us, the situation becomes more intense. Switching to the more affordable HMO plan would result in my children losing their pediatrician, the critical provider that's needed for all other services under an HMO. Hagen will also lose his therapy services as his providers are no longer covered. On the other hand, if we were to choose the PPO plan, other tough decisions would be made. Do we stop services for Raiden and use his copay amount of $480 a month to apply to the PPO plan? Does my husband pick up more overtime shifts, knowing full well that he's going to miss more of our kids' sports events, school events, and other milestones? Or do we stop services for Hagen and just hope for the best for him? For me personally, as I look in the crowd today, I see many of the same faces I saw when I was waking up in the back of an ambulance. But one face stands out in particular, my husband. He was one of the paramedics who responded to a 911 call for me during a seizure. In the middle of a medical crisis, he was there coming to the scene to help his wife, knowing full well the gravity of the situation. As a first responder, he's used to being the one offering care and stability to the community, but this time he was the one whose family needed help. Now I ask all of you to consider this. What would you do in his shoes? What would you do if you saw your spouse or child in a medical crisis and because of insurance cuts or affordability issues, you were left wondering how you would ever financially recover from it? Last year, that wasn't a question we had to ask ourselves, and thanks to our current insurance, life-saving care has been accessible, affordable, and attainable for us. But with the changes being prevented, that safety net can and will vanish. And as a family, we're left with impossible choices. This is not a situation any of us should have to face. We should never ask ourselves if we can afford to save a life. For families like ours, these aren't just financial decisions, they're heart-wrenching dilemmas. Despite the long hours, emotional toll, and sacrifice, my husband works a second job as a registered nurse, just to help keep us afloat. An increase or change is going to be detrimental to our family. And before I finish, I'd like to ask if anyone affected by these changes, either by losing access to a provider or financially, please stand. I ask City Council to look at these individuals, the ones that keep our city together, and also at their families, because tonight they aren't just a face in the crowd. They're the backbone of our city. We deserve better. I ask that you review the information presented during the July 22nd Employee Benefit Trust and truly dig deep and see if the information was accurate and the impact it has on all employees, to review the cost of living and compensation for all city employees. I ask that this be reviewed at the next agenda. This is my city and my voice, and Kerrville deserves better.
Micah Booth.
I'm here in the capacity of an officer of the local 3230 Kerrville Professional Firefighter Association. I'm representing myself and some of our membership who voiced to me their desire to speak, but feared retaliation. My name's Micah Booth. I'm 40 years old, and I was born and raised in Kerrville, and I graduated from Tybee High School in 2003. My wife Megan and I were raised in this beautiful, safe community. Our kids go to the same schools and play at the same parks that we did, making it an easy decision to raise a family here as well. Together we have 4 kids. Sorry, I lost my spot. Together we have 4 kids. As a little boy, I didn't just want to be a firefighter. I wanted to be a Kerrville firefighter. My family is quintessentially Kerrville. As a city employee, I never expected to get rich, but I did expect a living wage and adequate medical coverage. Those 2 things provide stability for people to settle in a community, pursue that career, and raise a family. In my 19 years of employment, I've watched the actual cost of living outpace the cost of living adjustment awarded to me, essentially providing less of a living the longer I stayed here. But that's fine. We've gotten financially creative, worked 2nd and 3rd jobs, made sacrifices, and just gone without, all to maintain our vital medical coverage and continuity of care. My story can be found in every fire station across all 3 shifts. No one is staying for the excellent pay, but they were staying for the benefits. With low pay and inadequate health coverage, it has become irresponsible as a breadwinner to remain a City of Kerrville employee. We've lost more than a handful of police officers and firefighters over the last few years to higher wages and better benefits. This is the straw that broke the camel's back for many. People will leave out of necessity and nothing else. When it comes to pay, so much care is taken to provide complete and accurate data from comparable fire departments that a third party is hired to do a salary study and develop the report. They compare us to departments with similar amount of stations, personnel, and call volume to make sure oranges are being compared to oranges. On July 22nd, Council was presented these 2 healthcare options for approval. The data presented did not provide the information needed to make this decision. The City of Kerrville employs approximately 350 people. We were compared to municipalities with much smaller employment pools who can't achieve better rates by default due to their low number of contributors. Those 2 oranges are not the same. During that same presentation, it was mentioned as a goal to reduce the city's contribution towards health care over the next few years. Yesterday, I asked if that was still true or have things changed. City staff ultimately answered with maybe. Please provide clarity while we make such an important decision. Is it the goal for the City of Kerrville to continue reducing their contribution towards health care coverage over the next few years? I'm very disappointed that the impact to the employees' paychecks wasn't presented up front that night, nor did Council ask before making a decision, leaving us feeling like an unimportant afterthought. After 19 years of being strung along with hopeful salary studies just to catch up to mediocrity and immediately start falling behind again, I feel deceived, lied to, and just plain stupid. Do not mistake my passion for
Samantha,
full of love. And I love this department, I love these people, and I love Kerrville. Please take action.
Samantha Winky, and I apologize if I'm not, okay.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Winky. I'm a Kerrville citizen, I am a veteran, and most importantly tonight, I am the proud mother of a Kerrville firefighter. My son has wanted to be a firefighter since he was 4 years old. He was an Army brat who grew up all over the country, but he spent his junior and senior year in Kerrville and graduated from Tybee High School. He never once wavered from his dream, and today he is living it. He is so proud to serve Kerrville, and his family is so proud of him. We are grateful that Kerrville Fire Department gave him the chance to give back to the community that welcomed my family and allowed us to put down roots. But the reality is, Being a firefighter is not just a job. On the 4th of July, when the floods came, my son rushed out into the night to save people while his own home was filling with water. He went through in a few hours what some firefighters carry with them from a whole career. And when the sun came up, he had no home to go back to. He is still displaced, trying to rebuild his life, even as he continues to show up every day for the city of Kerrville. And here's the part that breaks my heart as a mother. My son cannot even afford to buy a home in the county he serves. He is young, dedicated, and selfless, and yet the city he risks his life for is cutting his insurance benefits and refusing to give him hazardous duty pay. After everything he has been through, this feels like another blow, one he shouldn't have to carry. We are a military family. We could have lived anywhere, but we chose Kerrville because we believe that this community that values services and families would be a good place. Cutting benefits for first responders sends the opposite message. It tells my son and every firefighter that their sacrifices are invisible and that their lives are worth less than the budget line that they fall under. These men and women are not just employees. They are our sons, our daughters, our neighbors, our protectors. They stand between this community and tragedy every single day. Kerrville must show them that they matter. I'm asking you, as a mother, as a veteran, and a member of this community, please do not turn your back on the people who would never turn their back on you. Provide hazardous duty pay. Restore their benefits. Show them that Kerrville sees them, values them, and stands with them, just as they stand for us. At the end of the day, this decision is in your hands. You have the power to either take something away from our first responders or stand up for them. I hope you choose to stand with them.
Christina Rotman. Kerrville is my hometown, and I haven't actually lived here for a while, but a lot of my friends and family do. And I do have family with the fire department. And I'm here to speak up on their behalf. Like many Kerrville residents, I was shocked to hear of the proposed disaster tax hike. A tax on folks who are traumatized is unacceptable. However, I read the mayor's post explaining how the city has to meet 25% of FEMA's contributions, and I didn't know that. So I decided to do some research. How can any city or small town recover from any natural disaster? And what lessons can we learn from those that have? I learned that Bastrop after the wildfires and Rockport after Hurricane Harvey felt that a post-disaster tax hike would have been disrespectful to their citizens who had lost so much. They decided instead to more aggressively pressure the state for disaster relief funds. Have we made those phone calls, and have we put the same pressure on the government or on the governor before we dared to put it on our people? Because that's step one. Step two, it's a viable option, a viable plan to put the sales tax option to a vote. If you do a 0.5% sales tax, it spreads the burden to everyone who spends money here and not just the property owners. Lots of people want to help you. We've seen that from the donations to the community fund. That's why James Avery was overwhelmed with orders when they sold their Heart of the Hill Country charm with proceeds going into the community fund. If this kind of tax was in place when they did that, it would have cost each of the 100,000 customers who bought that charm, it would have cost each of them only 30 cents to add it to their order, and added up to another $30,000 for the city budget. I do appreciate that you are being transparent about the challenges Kerrville is still facing and giving the public the opportunity to be heard. Your argument for the tax increase appealed to our better nature. I have never been more proud to be from Kerrville than I have in the past few weeks, because we saw that everyone looked out for one another and helped out neighbors just because it's the right thing to do. You educated us on how city funding works. The thousands of people who donated over $100 million to the community fund do not know that it can't be used for your emergency services and that it can't be used for your fire department. Your appeal to the property tax makes sense for this reason. But I don't think that the public knows that you've already put them at risk for losing the personnel that work emergency services by reducing your contributions to their healthcare coverage. It is my understanding that maybe this plan was already in the works before the flood to address the rising healthcare costs and not a reaction to the flood. But if it wasn't yet announced to them, the timing was bad. And it was not a huge rolling boulder that you were powerless to stop. You had to have known that it would feel like a knife in the back to those crews who worked that $400,000 worth of overtime. Take a moment to humanize that number. They accrued that much overtime because those crews who showed up in the middle of the night to start rescuing their neighbors didn't just stop when their shifts were over, because there were still people in the water. This would be the time to show our gratitude by increasing their access to health care, because who knows what kinds of toxins, chemicals, and bacteria they may have been exposed to in the water. And their mental health care needs to be taken extremely seriously. The regular statistic is that 45% of all firefighters experience suicidal ideation. The average for the general population is 5%. More firefighters die each year from suicide than in the line of duty. And these numbers might actually be underreported. The citizens of Kerrville showed the world what it looks like to love your neighbor. And the city of Kerrville has a responsibility to do the same.
Thank you.
Karen Guerrera and Debbie Zabika, they spoke earlier.
Right.
So, Zane Zenner.
Good evening, council, the mayor, city manager. I am Zane Zenner, 28-year veteran, and I'm here to represent the Kerrville Firefighters Association. As we look at this this crowd here, we have many spouses, many firefighters and their spouses are here. They're concerned. They're concerned because they may have to go look for a job elsewhere. They don't want to. They don't want to move from the beautiful city of Kerrville. They love the guys they work with and the girls they work with. But unfortunately, for the past 3 or 4 years, we haven't seen a real big increase in pay. And one thing that the city has always had, and as far as benefits go, is a good benefit package. If you take this benefit package away from us, police and fire and paramedics, we will lose a lot of them. Retention, hiring, training is not cheap on any organization. If this remains the same, if no actions are taken, the city of Kerrville will lose a lot of individuals. And I just hope that's not the case. That's all I have. Thank you.
You.
Franchina. Levi Malden.
Good evening, Mayor Herring and members of the council. Before me, I have an entire speech that would take approximately the 4 minutes to deliver. But as I've listened to everybody speak, it's become clear that there's not a whole lot I could add out of this to what has already been said. So I will just add a few thoughts. As I've been listening, I hope that it's clear that what you're hearing is a small fraction of the representation that will be affected by this change. We were able to congregate and get 20 of us together. But as Mike has said, there's 350 employees. We are not naive to the fact that on the fire and the police side, we are very fortunate when it comes to our pay rate compared to a lot of other sectors or employees of this city. I can understand the financial burden that this change will place on my family. I could not even imagine making 25% less than I do and being expected to afford this change. I don't understand how anybody possibly could. The numbers they just don't work. Being expected to pay over $300 a pay period for a quality health insurance program, that's not feasible. And I would challenge anybody to make that argument. We appreciate y'all's time and your attention to this matter. And we also understand, and we're not naive to the fact, that budgeting a balance, managing a budget must be challenging. And you have a responsibility to be a good steward of the taxpayer dollar. Nobody's asking you to not honor that. But at what cost? That's what has to be considered. And I would only hope that sincere consideration is being given to what y'all are hearing today. Thank you.
George Baruti.
George Baruti, 1616 Glen Road. I had a whole thing about the budget, but I don't want to stand in and kind of take away from what's going on. So I'll just kind of kind of whatever you call it, dovetail into that a little bit. First, I can't imagine the courage it takes not to just be a fireman, but to actually come in here and speak up essentially to your bosses about something that must be, obviously it's very important. What I'm hearing is from you all is, there's a budget tightening the belt. I'm saying the same thing. I get all that. But I think what they're asking for is maybe some consideration to the priorities you're placing on our budget. We've talked about it with Mr. McKinney in particular, about the housing developments where we're giving back millions of dollars of taxes, essentially underfunding those developments, bringing on, I would argue, negative net impact to the city government. Instead of doing that, maybe hold off on that while you shore up what you already have, the resources you already have. Another thought to consider is you just talked the public into, you didn't, but we've talked the public into funding a Taj Mahal of public safety complex. And what I'm hearing now is we may have trouble staffing that building under the benefits and wages that we have. There has to be room to juggle things around in our budget to reprioritize the things that matter the most at the top and then working down from there. There's going to be some things we can't do, but hopefully they're the things that you just want rather than you need. I would agree, we need firefighters and we need policemen, and women, sorry. So if you could just, I'm going to sit down and be quiet and just let what they've been saying sink in and just consider what you can do about it. Thank you.
That's the end of the citizen speakers.
I want to say thank you to everybody for being well-spoken. I appreciate it. And you might be mistaken. We heard every word. And I've read a lot of words online as well. And I appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us. I do. Class of 2003, I had a kid in that class. All right, we're going to move on then to the next item, which is our consent agenda. But before you leave, you don't have to stay for the whole thing, but before you leave, thank you for coming. I'm glad you were here. The next item is our consent agenda. These items are considered routine and can be approved in one motion unless a council member, staff, or member of the public asks for separate consideration of an item. Does the council wish to remove any item from the consent agenda?
I would like to just make a comment about 3D, so 3D would be the one I would.
All right, we'll pull up 3D. Anything else? There are ordinances in this consent agenda, so they'll need to be read into the record.
Yes, sir. 3A, ordinance number 2025-15, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas zoning code by changing the zoning of a property known as 225 Shriner Street from a residential transition zoning district RT to a downtown arts and cultural zoning district DAC, and providing other matters relating to the subject. This ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading August 12, 2025. 3B, ordinance number 2025-16, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas zoning code by changing the zoning of a property known as 1421 East Main, consisting of approximately 1.77 acres out of the J.A. Tivy addition and within the City of Kerrville, Kerr County, Texas, from a neighborhood commercial zoning district C1 to a light commercial zoning district C2, and providing other matters relating to the subject. This ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading August 12, 2025. 3C, ordinance number 2025-17, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas zoning code by changing the zoning of a property known as 2210 Highway 173, Bandera Highway, Lot 2, Block 1, out of the Oak Hollow Estates Edition, and within the City of Kerrville, Kerr County, Texas, from a neighborhood commercial zoning district C1 to a light commercial zoning district C2, and providing other matters relating to the subject. And this ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading August 12th, 2025. Yes, sir.
Is there a motion then on all the consent agenda except for 3D?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda items number 3A, B, C, E, F, G, and H.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Passes unanimously. Item 3D, 3 is in David.
The only thing I asked when I was going over this was where was this in our new budget, and it was in our current budget, last year's basically budget. In case you were looking for this $1,276,755, which I was, and so it's not going to be in the newer book. It's going to be in last year's.
I think we allocated that some. We moved some money from.
Okay,
I'm
well,
trying to remember.
that's-
We
that-
had a discussion on it, but it was
before
before
my
the flood,
time?
I think. No, I think it was during your time, but,
Okay, well, I think it originated maybe earlier, though.
oh, it probably did.
Yeah, okay.
It probably
Anyway,
did.
minor detail, let's move on.
All right, so you don't have a question.
No, I actually, talked with Dalton about it in our meeting, so.
Is there a motion then on item 3D as in David?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to finalize and execute the construction contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 4A is resolution number 23, 2025, concerning conditional use permit. Mr. Paxton.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a resolution for a conditional use permit authorizing a cabinet making shop located at 1421 East Main. This is after the passage of 3B in a C2 zoning district. This is the property shown C1 here. Again, it's now C2. In the Kerrville 2050 plan, it is part of the neighborhood residential area, which does allow for small amounts of commercial and carefully chosen locations. Again, this was previous commercial property, just moved up to C2. Here's the property that we talked about at the zoning change public hearing. The cabinet shop is on the left side of the building. There's an office on the right-hand side. There is one residential home to the right of this property. The resolution you have before you has two conditions that be tied to the site plan and that it be subject to all other zoning requirements. However, during the zone change, I heard a couple of comments from council and wanted to address those as potential conditions that council could apply to the resolution. No outdoor material storage. Confirm that the existing screening fence does meet current code and that the cabinet shop to be operated behind closed doors to minimize noise. If, at council's pleasure, if you want those conditions included, work with legal department to update the resolution before execution. Be pleased to answer any questions before or after public hearing.
I would like those to be incorporated into it because if and when there's another owner, a new owner, that doesn't have these, regulations or, stipulations, they could do all of these things. Like they could store outdoor something else or, so I just want to have protection for the next person that doesn't disturb the residential neighborhood that it's kind of in. But I think you're going to be busy.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, we already are, so.
I'm sure you are. Yeah. Well, all the best to you.
Is there then consensus to add these three possible conditions?
No objection from you on these are fine for you?
That's fine for me, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Good.
I think we should do it, that's great.
All right, then I'll need a motion.
Sir, this is a public hearing.
You're right, I'm sorry. First, we must open a public hearing. Thank you. Go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:02. Anyone can speak without having signed up previously. Not seeing anyone, I'm going to close the public hearing also at 7:02. All right, thank you. Is there a motion then on Resolution 23-2025 with these three additional conditions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the CUP resolution number 23-2025.
Second.
With the conditions?
With these conditions that our attorney will draft up.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Unanimously. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Item 5A. Resolution number 27-2025. To present on this. Julie, are you up?
Sorry, which one is it?
It's Kirk had budget.
Says Julie.
Oh, no, Sharon's here. She's gonna answer questions for you guys. So
Okay.
Our chief appraiser's here. Yeah. I have 3 tonight, so just checking which order I'm in.
That's enough, isn't it?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work during the tragedy.
It's been trying time.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Our budget this year proposed for next year, for 2026, has an increase of 6.11%. If you look at the spreadsheet that I'm sure Julie provided you, the increases were not in the salary line items. It had to do with legal consultation and insurance and other things that have gone up in our regular, doing
Insurance?
business.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Everybody's suffering from that, trust me.
All
Any
right.
questions? Or?
Any questions? All right. Would someone like to make a
Well,
motion?
I've got how much did your insurance go up? I'm sorry.
3.10%.
3.10.
3.10. We have Texas Association of Counties, and they have really been good.
Glad.
Yeah, like last year, we didn't have any increase, so,
I'm glad you spoke now instead of earlier.
yeah.
All right, do we have a motion then on, 27, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve, resolution number 27-2025.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Thanks again for your hard
Thank
work.
you.
Item 5B, it says Julie, but I would imagine it's not.
Well, thank you for having me to go over our budget for both the Convention and Visitors Bureau next year, as well as our Community Arts Program. We have factored in, working with Julie Behrens, a 10% overall budget reduction for the CVB. I'll cover CVB first. We had, I did increase health insurance by 8%, but our total plan increase was 16%. So
Wait, say that again?
our total plan increase was 16%. I increased it in my budget by 8%, so our team will be also having increases or decreases on their paycheck when they have to pay for health insurance more. That increase led to the 6% increase that you see in our office and visitor center. Well, that's not true, in our admin increases. But the 6% office visitor center building expense increase is related to all things like utilities and the nature of operating the business, not our lease. Our lease remains the same. That led to a 4% admin increase, all of those above, as well as a 1% increase in what we consider our visitor center. Because we had to reduce our budget, so we had to reduce it somewhere we could. That falls primarily in our advertising area, 17% reduction in advertising, promotion, and sales. Brochure printing, convention registration, industry dues, sales, consumer were most of the areas where we made reductions so that we could make our 10% reduction overall and try to not put all of the increases on the employees, right? So that leaves us with the $996,000, $525 budget. Are there questions on CVB before I go to Community Arts Program?
Curious who your insurance coverage?
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
And what was the percentage increase?
16.
Budgeted 8,
Yeah.
right, Julie?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Julie, I just need to ask you a question on that. 17% reduction in advertising. And I know you're doing your job and you're cutting your budget and you're getting where you need to be, but isn't that one of the key functions that y'all do?
It is. Yes, sir.
Are you still going to be able to function with 17% advertising?
It will be harder. So it's that whole category. So it's not just the advertising specific like an ad. It's everything that falls under advertising, promotion, and sales. So we have we won't be attending some of the same shows that we attend, things like that. We have had a couple, like we had a staff member that attended the military reunion group this year, and we've started to have some really good momentum from that. And then, of course, immediately we had July 4th happen, and so that has been a challenge. But that group in particular reached out and said, next year your registration's free if you guys can afford to get here travel-wise. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen. That's $2,800 savings, registration savings, right? So we'll be doing some juggling, but it is a challenge. We have had other advertising partners, such as Texas Monthly and some others like that, that have reached out trying to help where they can with our budget and offering some in-kind services as we're ready to move forward with our full-on approach to bringing tourism back to Kerrville. And then even our own ad agency, this, like in July, didn't bill us at all for any of the expenses of what they helped us through all of our marketing and messaging. And so we're trying to leverage those things that a lot of our partners are trying to give us in kind. And then the other
I'm hopeful to carry over. I've talked to Julie. We typically only carry over about a 10% fund balance into the new year, and this year I'm trying very hard to carry more of that so that then I have it in our new year. Part of it is I do have advertising savings because I stopped advertising on July 4th, right? And so while we're marketing and we're doing social media posts and things like that, we're not driving dollars behind them. And so I'm able to save some of that money. And so I'm hopeful I'll know better closer to September 30th what that total will be, but then that can help us maybe do a budget adjustment and help the advertising side.
Thank you for your diligence in that. And I know it's not an easy pill to swallow.
It's been hard. It's one of the things I'll probably cut, or I have cut, is, under research, we have the cell phone data that we use to help us target, and it's just, it's $10,000. So where can I put, where can I make a cut that will maybe have the least impact? And then we'll see what happens. Are you ready for me to go on to community arts program?
All right. Go ahead.
Community arts program, their budget has about a 5% overall reduction. As far as City of Kerrville contract, it remains the same, the $225,000. Where I made the reduction was in the matching grant opportunities, and that's just based on the funds that have come in the past year. And so this is a more realistic approach to what type of donations have been made to that program. And again, we have a health insurance increase that falls in line with the CVB employees. This person is a CVB employee and on the CVB's health insurance plan. It's just a separate budget. 6% reduction in advertising. That is all from the brochure printing area. Their arts co-op advertising of $60,000 has remained the same, which that's what it's been even prior to the community arts program. And then a 17% reduction in the public art and programming. I did not bring my note on that, but most of that is the programming, like the artist capacity building portion. And then I want to say the public arts is maybe about a $9,000 drop, but I don't have my notes in front of me, so.
Questions on
$233,000.
this proposed budget?
I have a question. The $225,000, is that the grant?
The 225, she was I'll try to answer and then Julie can tell me. The 225 is a 3-year contract that was created with the City of Kerrville when the community arts program began. This will be the 3rd year. A portion of it is hot funds and a portion of it is a grant from the Community Foundation.
The 50-50?
They did it in steps. So the first year, the Community Foundation was in more, and hot tax was less, but I don't remember the breakdown, do you?
So it was a 3-year phase-in, basically. So this is our largest year and it's Community Foundation's smallest year. So they started out at like the 150, we were 100, and then we went up. So we're at 175 now, and they're at 50. So this is our last year of balance.
I thought they were at 50. So
Yeah. Yep.
So will you be like working on renewing that this year?
Yes. So we've established a new 501c3 for that program to work under. It will still be part of the CBB 501c6 so that that person can remain an employee. They would, if I had to stand up benefits for one person, it would not be very smart. But yes, so we've started we have created a 501c3, and then this year we will be working on figuring out what we can do to renew that, whether it's with the Community Foundation or in other funding ways. But the 2 projects have already been chosen for this final year of the contract, so.
Thank you very much.
It is part of the next year.
The questions?
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
You're one of the unsung heroes of our community. Thank you for all you do.
I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for our community. Is there a motion then on their budget?
I would make a motion to approve the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Arts Council's money for the next year.
2026, got it. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, so vote. It passes unanimously. Item 5C, Kerrville, Kirk County Joint Airport Board proposed budget.
I'm not Julie. My name's Kurt Griffin. I've been the airport manager since the 4th of May. So it's been a little bit of a whirlwind summer there. I want to thank Julie and her staff for helping getting me up to speed on what we had to submit to get through this process. And then I'd also like to thank the fire department. We had a presidential visit and I needed a fire truck. And they were very kind in showing up very quickly to meet the needs of the Secret Service. And so I just wanted to say thanks for that effort as well on the Friday after a week later, the 11th. Our budget is it's been interesting. We had a real solid budget leading up after last summer. There was a huge budget amendment made in November. I tried to regroup and get us back to reality. There were some things done with a previous office holder, and so this budget reflects, it's a balanced budget for us. Our income matches our expenditures. I feel that it's a solid budget. We've accomplished a lot over the last 12 months. Out at the airport, we've finished a large paving job. Of course, we had the land acquisition that you guys supported and helped, and we thank you for that. We're in the process of trying to figure out the next steps and how to pay for them so that we don't come to you guys and ask for future funding on those things. We're working hard and diligently right now to do that. This budget reflects the reality of 3 staff and as well as continuing with the current interlocal agreements that we have between the city and the county, and we balanced it out. So that's what I'm presenting here. If there's any questions.
Sorry. Martin, can you put that on the screen, please?
Okay. All right.
There it is.
Well, it's been approved by my board. It's a draft because I'm bringing it to you guys for approval.
Well, I'd say that when I first moved to town, the city and county were subsidizing the airport.
Yes, sir.
And it's been quite a few years now that been managing to avoid that, and it's we've been talking about how challenged we are with the budget, and it's would be tough for us to come up with money out of the general fund to help. So I know you're working on the leases on the hangars, and you're doing all kinds of things to try to make ends meet.
Yes, sir. We are currently, the FAA requires us to charge fair market value for our facilities because we are an FAA grant airport. We're in the process of finishing up a total appraisal just about on every piece of property that we have so that we can update our leases, make things current, and charge a fair and equitable price.
Well, anyway, I commend you for keeping the budget in balance. That's great.
There you go. Any questions?
Any other comments or questions?
What is the current wait time on a hangar?
It depends. I know that's not a real definitive answer. We have 3 series of small T hangars and box hangars that we lease to individuals. That price range varies. We're just rewritten our standard operating procedures for how we deal with lease hangars for individuals. Right now, we dropped that list down from 42 names to 23. we are also trying to establish who wants what size of hangar, because some guys don't need a big hangar, some guys want a bigger hangar. We just had one become available. We started at the top of the list. We've already dropped the top 2 names off that list in the last week, and we're pressing on to name number 3. So it's a function of availability, that kind of stuff. I know one tenant, the original set of T hangars were built 27 years ago. I know one tenant that's been in that one hangar for 27 years.
Wow.
So these things don't turn over.
Mhm.
I'm saying that to say that they don't turn over often, all the time. Fortunately, that piece of it is a very loyal and stable piece of our revenue. Of course, one of the things we're looking at is the opportunity to create more hangar space so that we can get more folks bringing more aircraft in. We do have an opportunity this year on 3 large, I'd call them commercial type hangars, 100 by 100 type square footage for corporate jet aircraft. That would be a big revenue piece coming in for us, as well as the potential in the tax base for those aircraft to be based here. So in those hangars, we would have a ground lease and a 30, 40-year type lease on the building themselves that the leasee would be paying for and not us. So we have some of those opportunities out in front of us that are very, very positive, and we've got some folks really interested in getting out here to our airport.
So there's one more positive thing maybe that's happened in the last year to go from a regional airport to national.
That adds, it puts us in a different category. We are now competing for TxDOT and FAA money with larger airports like San Marcos, New Braunfels, McKinney, Sugar Land in southwest Houston. What that does for us is it opens up a larger pot of money that we will then be able, as we have projects that come along, especially the TxDOT supported projects, we will have the opportunity at having greater funds available. So it's a positive for us.
It's a big change.
It's a big change. It moves us into the capability that, maybe at some point we can start entertaining some limited commercial service, which of course is more people coming to the community, that kind of stuff, and opening more doors. So
it's kind of recognition that of the kind of traffic that we have at the airport.
Yes, sir. We more and more have the net jets, flex jets up, the contract biz jet business coming in. They buy a lot of fuel, and it really helps. We had last month was, after being shut down for 3 weeks for a resurface project, last month we made up what we shut down in fuel flow.
Wow.
From the previous month.
So I'm all going there.
Everybody.
Every day.
I had the Secret Service lady that I dealt with. She says, "You guys look more like a small military airfield than a civilian airfield." And I said, "Yes, ma'am. That's kind of where we are right now." So it was. Fortunately, Joe Kennedy and Kerrville Aviation came through as well. So it was a good deal.
But the airport's a good economic driver for us, I think.
We're giving it a go. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Well, there's about to be a development complete probably end of 2026 or beginning of 2027 that's going to bring more air activity to this area. If Whiskey Springs sells what they say to a lot of out-of-state people, they go back and forth. And
we are getting more and we had, just today, we had 7 large corporate aircraft.
Like 7 in one day.
Yeah, and so that's kind of an average, and those aircraft are buying a lot of fuel, and So it's
Well, make sure you can sell it.
we just keep it going.
Make
I
sure
got
you
to
have
ask
it.
just one more question, I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry. Because I've heard it, and I've heard people say, oh, man, if you could get Southwest to come to Kerrville. Well, we know that's not happening. What is the largest commercial jet that we could actually facilitate?
We can handle a 737, okay? Not the MAX, not the big one. Reality is, the regional type jets.
MD-80?
MD-80 would be close. Our runway is capable weight-wise, our taxiway is a little light. So we gotta look at that, but we're currently handling Challengers and Gulfstream 7s, which are
Pretty good size.
large aircraft. The region jets are in that same weight category. And so if we were looking at a United Express, a Delta Connection, American Eagle type, go from Kerrville, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, would be kind of the primary kind of thing that we could probably start with. And we can handle those guys.
There used to be commercial service at that airport.
There was. My dad courted my mother in a DC-3 from Harlingen going through nav school in 1956.
For DC-3s, they were indeed.
So,
Is there a motion then on this budget?
I would move to, we approve the Kerrville County Joint Airport proposed budget for 2026.
Second.
A question, has the county acted on this yet?
no, sir. But everybody's I've talked with is happy.
I hope they are.
I hope so too.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, so vote. All right, thank you for all you do, Mr. Griffin, I appreciate it. And now, Julie. Financial report.
Okay, I will be brief. Got some budgets across, and I believe we have one more that we'll be bringing to you in the next few weeks. So give you a quick update on where we are financially. So general fund, I mean, you know that we have some impact in the flood in here. I don't really have a financial report on that yet, but we will soon, although I do have a short update for you. You can see we're a little bit behind budget estimate on property tax. I think that's a timing thing. We've looked at it this month and think that's gonna flatten out. Sales tax a little bit better than budget. The big kind of drop here, and we talked about this a little bit last month, was the recreation revenue, which that's, closing KSP, and we've lost a lot of future reservations that we've refunded that have impacted that as well. And then service revenue, we had a pretty big drop in EMS revenue in July, but we had an uptick in our landfill services. So we'll kind of watch that and see what happens. We were, quite a bit ahead of budget coming into July in that line item, but we've seen a decrease there. So we'll see what happens in August and see if that doesn't rebound for us. Personnel, you can tell a little bit behind budget there. We were quite a bit ahead. That's heavily impacted, of course, by overtime and then also just increased straight time hours that we've had to incur due to the flood. We will have some money coming back from TML, about $50,000 citywide, and so that will be distributed accordingly on a percentage basis back to each fund, and that will specifically be to help offset some of the overtime that we incurred through our insurance policy. Overall expenses better than budget, and again, we'll keep tracking this as we start kind of ramping up our flood efforts for repair and keep you updated on that. This is just a property tax chart here that you can see we're about 99% collected, which is really about where we should be if you look at a 5-year history. And then on the right, just again reminding you of rates to date and then the rate history on the graph, so you can see that graphically. Sales tax, we brought this 12-month average to our chart a few months ago just so you can kind of see. We've talked about the month over month is not really the best way to trend sales tax just because of some anomalies, but you can see the 12-month rolling average kind of going back up. So we talked about this in budget workshop, but even though you might see the trend lines going down there, revenues are actually going up. So that's really just to give us an indicator of what we think sales tax might do in the future. So we use this a lot more than we do our month over month. We remember we budgeted 3% less than 24 in our 25 budget because we had a shortfall. So we kind of saw things flattening out and backed off of that a little bit. We are seeing a little bit of growth in sales tax, and so we hope that that will be one of something positive to come out of everything as people start rebuilding and doing some things on the sales tax. We'll hope to see an economic uptick there because of that. Water fund, water sales still doing better than budget, about $86,000 better than we estimated. So we're hopeful that our updated water model that we've kind of implemented in the last year will work. And so, we've reduced dependency on irrigation. We did go into a very strict water conservation there for a little bit. We won't really know if we had an impact to that or not until we see August billing, because we're a month behind on billing compared to consumption. But it was for a short time, and we had already reduced consumption or reduced the dependency on irrigation. So we're hopeful that water model's working, that we won't see a big impact because of that. Really everything else from a revenue standpoint lining up. Of course, interest and miscellaneous still ahead of budget. Interest is still tracking pretty well. Personnel, same story here, except in the water fund, we're seeing a shortfall in health insurance, but it's kind of a distribution of different employees, different choices. And so we'll level that out among departments as we go into year end. We can talk about that more in detail later. And then right on line with total expenditures for the water fund. Development services, revenues $115,000 better than budget, so very volatile as you think about the last few years of what we reported. Some years are really good and some years aren't, but we're doing well this year on revenues. And then expenditures, not quite as good as we would like to be, but again, we do have some impact from overtime due to the flood there, and then also a small shortfall on budget for group health, but we're tracking on that with some other line items we could even out. Occupancy tax, so kind of in line with what Julie was talking about. To kind of take flood out of it for a minute, we've been trending behind on occupancy tax, whether it's drought related. It's really hard to say. Economic drivers, maybe people have less expendable income, they're traveling less. I'm not sure, but we've been seeing this for a couple years, and so I really think making the move to reduce 2026 is really what we have to do until we kind of see if we're going to rebound from the last few years in occupancy tax revenue. But behind on the tax part, of course, and then overall revenues about $200,000 less than where we expect to be at this point in time. Expenses a little bit better than budget. We did go ahead and make that transfer out to HHHC because good progress is being made there. So we did need that funding to start completing that project. So you'll see that transfer out did happen. Quick update on FEMA grant reimbursement process. So we've been having weekly in-person meetings with FEMA and TDM here at the city. I can't say enough about the support we've been given from those two organizations and the guidance that they've provided to us. We've completed damage assessments, so primarily Parks and Public Works, and so FEMA has sent on-site damage assessment personnel to make inspections of all of our damages, and so our Parks and Public Works teams have been working closely with them. We have a really good list and some projects already set up within our FEMA portal that we can start rolling on getting some repairs done. We have established our portal. We're currently working on our Category B expenses, which is our emergency and protective measures, so those will be our initial large expenses that we incurred. So for that first couple of weeks, just preparing for what we needed to do for public safety. So that's going to be labor, equipment use, and supplies and equipment, those kind of things during those first response times. So our next steps, we'll start our formal procurement process for our larger projects. As I said, that's going to kind of build on the projects that have already been approved by FEMA, just based on damage assessments and those kind of things. And we're working on allocating our insurance to go ahead and continue reimbursement or continue repairs on some of our critical infrastructure that has already been started. We have a few lift station issues that we need to address that are actually being addressed now. And then some more things as we start to think about reopening the river trail that we're going to need to address right away. Beginning repairs on smaller parks projects, and then we'll start submitting a grant for reimbursement for a Category B. So we should see money coming back in phases. I really don't have a timeline for you just yet, but as we start walking through those steps, I'll keep you updated on that. And of course, we're seeking other funding where we can, so grants and other things that our parks team is really working hard to see if we can find some other funding sources to get us back up and rolling. This is just our calendar, so you know that we have public hearings coming up on the budget. We've already started some audit pre-work, and we'll continue that through November, and then get started for our next fiscal year. So happy to answer any questions, and of course, we'll be bringing you more information on flood expenses in the next few months.
Go back to the previous slide, please.
Yes.
Thanks. See that again.
I have a question about the insurance.
First of all, is any of this covered by our insurance? And what is our deductible? And does anything cancel out if we get, I mean, how does that work with FEMA covering damages versus our insurance covering damages? And what ultimately is our responsibility as a city to pay for?
So we're going to be responsible for about, estimated right now, 25% of whatever our total cost is. So for
both,
example,
whether it's insurance, deductible, or FEMA.
so insurance just honestly paid us to the max of our policy and just said, here, they came out and did a damage assessment. You'll remember the company called Synergy that
Yes.
they assigned, they came out, did damage assessments, took photos, aligned a cost analysis with each of those damages. It was going to far exceed what our total policy
What were our
was,
limits?
5 million. So we've already received that money, so we're working on allocating that to critical infrastructure first. So we're taking care of those needs first, and then areas to where we need to reopen so the public can start using public spaces again. Is kind of our immediate need. To answer your question about FEMA, we have to report to them revenue that we receive. So when we look at the total cost of a project, say it's $100,000, we receive $25,000. So our cost out of pocket would be $75,000, and so then we would be responsible for 25 of that, and then
Right.
FEMA, in a perfect world,
Yeah.
if everything that was involved in that project was eligible, we would receive 75% of that back. The good thing is, any volunteer hours or equipment use, anything like that,
Comes
that's
off on-
donated to us it counts towards our match. And so our FEMA representative has been amazing in really trying to help us through the process and being able to maximize those dollars as much as we can.
And who has access to the information that has been put into Kerrtogether.com by virtue of the hours, the donated hours that have gone in over the course of the last 6 weeks? Is
So-
anybody keeping track of that? And do we
Yes.
have a pretty good
Kelly
idea?
Kelly is doing that, and so we have to really differentiate between who those volunteers are volunteering for. So is it specifically for the city? Is it the chamber? So we're really tracking who they're volunteering for, but Kelly is keeping up with that and helping us a lot with a list of volunteers. And then as we start, I know we have some parks things fixing to happen, and so we've laid out the process for identifying those volunteers and any equipment that they bring with them and all of those kind of things. So it's being tracked as closely as we can.
Okay,
Call
so-
center, those kind of things, we've tracked all of that.
So let me ask you this. What if you volunteered for a nonprofit that wasn't part of the city, but directly impacted the flood event and the subsequent after effects from that flood? Would those hours count or
I
not
would say it
count?
depends on the nonprofit. So if you think about some of the nonprofits that are also going to be subject to FEMA reimbursement, they're going to keep those hours for
Okay.
themselves. If there's others that, and again, Kelly's really helping with that, to where do they directly impact what the city is trying to do, but the nonprofit was supporting that role.
Mhm.
So there's some differentials there, and we're categorizing those by exactly what they did, and
Okay.
then talking to FEMA about how those will fit in.
Okay.
So we're trying to track every hour we possibly can. It's a process for sure.
Yeah.
Good question, because there's a lot of overlap sometimes.
There is.
There are, yes, there are, and Kelly's done a great job of helping us with that since day one, but we
Yeah,
just
because
had
it's-
an
well,
outpouring of support.
It's like for Kerrville Pets Alive, they're not going to be asking for FEMA funds or anything like that.
Right.
But they played a critical role in this flood.
Right.
And I feel like their hours should help with the city's,
Right, with the
25%
match, of course.
obligation. I think their hours
Yeah, and we're
should
looking
count.
at all of those things. We're looking at all of those things, like anywhere that we can tie direct support to the
Mhm.
city, we're trying to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Julie.
Work.
Now we come to board appointments. On to the Main Street Advisory Board, Ms. Siegerman.
Yes, I actually spoke to Abby, Phil Yaw, and Shelby Yates. Even though we only have one vacancy, I spoke to Shelby just to let her know that. And I think Abby has been already, She already knows most of the board, and so since we have to choose one, I would recommend Abby be the person that we
Second?
appoint.
I'll second.
Kent can second. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. She is so appointed. Appointment to Planning and Zoning, that was Hughes and Harris. Any appointment tonight?
No, we do not. We were not able to reach and got no response from the only applicant, so we would like to extend the invite again and come back at a later date. Jeff, do you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am. It was, I'll just echo what you said. I mean, I know I called, you called, no response, and I look at it like a job interview.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to talk to you before we appoint you to something.
Right.
Just, and make sure you still want on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we put out a request for applications again? Okay, Shelley, thank you.
Thank you.
Appointment to the Recovery Community
You
Coalition.
know what? I made a mistake. To the Abby and Shelby over for recovery, we were supposed to talk about Justin and Sue Schulze.
Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we
Sorry,
negate that appointment?
Okay.
Go back to the Main Street Advisory Board.
And it's Tara Laganza?
Laganza, Justin McDonald has said, but he had his name on two applications, on one application for two boards, and he prefers Main Street. Justin, and then Sue Schulze and Clint Arms, I believe.
How many vacancies?
That's at TERS. Those.
At TERS.
That's the TERS.
I think the visitors forum has just really confused me. It's just in my mind right now, so I apologize. I'm not here right now.
Shelley, how many vacancies do we have on the Main Street Advisory Board?
We do have two, and we have two applicants, Tara and Justin.
All right.
Correct.
Would
That
you
is
like to
correct.
nominate those?
I would like to nominate those two, please.
Okay.
Not
No.
Susan?
Tara Laganza.
Tara Laganza and Justin McDonald.
And Justin has applied for two. Okay.
I never got a call back from him because I wanted to ask him what he preferred, and
I emailed him.
okay, so he prefers Main Street.
Gotcha.
So the motion then is Tara and Justin, correct?
Correct.
Second. Yeah, I'm tired too.
I'm seconding it.
I'm tired too.
I know.
Any discussion then on Main Street? Okay, all those in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. Thank you.
We all make mistakes, right?
Of course. We're not going to appoint anyone to Planning and Zoning tonight. How about Recovery Community Coalition? That's McKinney and Seigerman.
That's what Delane suggested, Abby instead of Shelby in this case.
Abby?
So,
Bill, y'all, I'm not sure how you say that.
Bill Rial?
so she made a motion, I second, and mistakenly at the wrong time. We redo that.
I know.
Yeah, the
done
correct
anything,
appointment,
y'all.
just the wrong committee. I got it. Okay, so we have an appointment to the Recovery Community Coalition to Abby Villarreal. Is that who it is?
Vilya?
FILWYAW.
Thank you. I'm writing that down. Villarreal. Motion is made and second. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, Board number 1. Ms. Seigerman, I think that was you as well.
It was, and I did all this. So we had some applicants, I think Clint Arms, Sue
Yes.
Schulze, not Justin McDonald because he preferred Main Street. And we had one more, and I've been trying to find that in my,
Sure. How many vacancies do we have on
We
that?
will have 3 terms. And so if you've appointed Justin, then we only have 2 applicants
Gotcha.
at this time.
So would it be okay to then make a motion to appoint Clint Orms and Sue Schulte?
yes, thank you very much. I
Come on.
second that. Vote at the same time.
All right. Leaving one vacancy
Yes, sir.
unappointed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And that passes unanimously. I suppose we'll need to put out an invitation or a call for more applicants to the TERS. All right. All right, we have a brief executive session. We need to go into executive session. Is there a motion then to go to executive session under 551.074?
I so move.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, so vote. And we voted to go into executive session. We'll go upstairs. All right.
Repeat that, please. There you go.
There we go. We're back from executive session. We have nothing to report from executive session. Are there any items for future agendas?
Are we gonna have any discussion at all about a committee for the, or is it complete?
The committee for
The
revenue streams for the
future
city?
budget and challenges, so just, I mean, even if we don't,
I could give y'all an update, you know, as we navigate that, if we want to just keep it from the city manager side at City Hall. So I can consult with y'all individually, and I got the names, so I'm putting that together this week.
Thank you. Any other items for future agendas? Anybody?
No, I guess not. I guess I just, what's been on my mind ever since the visitors forum was somehow getting the message out, getting our opinion, our message back out to the response of what we heard. I don't know what you call that agenda item.
Let's keep that in abeyance for just a little bit longer.
Okay.
All right, any other items? Hearing none, I'm going to close the meeting at 8:17. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor.
Everybody.